It's sunny outside, and that is awesome. They say that what you fail to celebrate will eventually leave your life. And because it's only been sunny 2 times on Sunday in 2018, I will celebrate it like it's the first time because, I like sun over rain. I'm not a fan of rain. Rain messes up life. And we sing songs about God sending rain, and I just want to I banned them, except for this one song we're going to sing. We're going to sing a song about rain in a little while. And I just want to let God know and let you know we're not talking about water coming from the sky. We are asking God to meet us on this earth, not the water to meet us on this earth. I just want to make sure there's no understanding so that prayers don't get misinterpreted or anything like that. We are a people at this church that like the sunshine. You know what I'm talking about. Sunshine is better than rain. Rain messes up church. It messes up baseball games. It just messes up fun things. Everything fun gets messed up by the rain. And so as a result, we're going to celebrate the fact that it is sunny today. Bless the Lord. Are y'all happy about it? I'm happy about it. I'm happy about it. And if you're not happy, I know some of you are like, I love the rain. I'm sure you do. But praise the Lord, I respect your loves, but my love is better because the sun is better than the rain. Anyway, glad you're here. We're finishing up this series that we've been doing called Swipe Right, and it's been a lot of fun. It's the longest series we've ever done. We've never done a series 7 weeks before, and now we have. This is the 7th week of this relationship series. We've talked about every relationship you could possibly have for the most part that I can think of. Even last week, we talked about the one relationship that you shouldn't live without. And if you weren't here for that message, or if you missed any of the weeks of the message of the series, you can download the Freedom Church app at any place where you download apps. Just download the Freedom Church app, and you can take it with you everywhere you go. It'll be amazing, and you can get caught up to speed. But today, I'm going to do something today that I never do. I am not like there's sometimes that pastors they love to play off of what's going on in the world. And, they're the ones that always buy the Christian t-shirts and stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some of you might have them on, God bless you. Or you go to the Christian bookstore. Did you know that at the Christian bookstore, they have mints and they're not even regular mints. They're called Testaments. And they have Bible verses on them as if a mint is more holy than a regular mint because it's got a verse on it. You eat it either way. And I think that's so weird. So I don't usually do that. So today is a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I think it's needed because right in the middle of the series, there was the 3rd installment of this movie that came out. And the movies, from everything I've seen in terms of reviews, I looked on Rotten Tomatoes today, and the 3rd movie in this series got a 13% approval rating, which that's bad, y'all. I think I can make a movie with a $12 budget and get better than 13%. And I don't even know how to make no movies, But 13% is so low. It's like you can't. That's bad. But it's still a phenomenon because. The movies are in response to some books that were written a while back, and when they did fairly well. I don't know if y'all know the whole series that we're going to talk about today. They did pretty well. The 50 Shades series, 50 Shades of Grey. I was when we were on vacation. We go to the beach when we go on vacation. Generally speaking, some of y'all get in cars and drive across the country. You call that vacation. I call that hell. I would never do that. I would never get in a car and drive across the country. I have about a 4.5 hour time limit. Anything longer than 4.5 hours is requiring a plane. Anything beyond that is, for you can enjoy your family that long. I love my family. But because I love my family, I'm not putting them in a car with me for that long because that is the prelude to murder. That's what a trip across the country in the same car would be. Judge me if you want to. I know my weaknesses. And I'm not even saying I would be the one murdering people. They might all team up on me. That's a possibility. And my blood pressure would be so high from driving across the country because I would yell the whole way there if I was the one behind the wheel. But nonetheless, we were walking up and down the beach. We do it every year. And always look to see what books everybody's reading. And I remember one year the primary book that we saw out on the beach was Girl on the Train. And everybody was reading it. Everybody was reading it. So we bought the book and we read it, and it was awesome. It's a great book. And I looked to see it, and it sold 15 million copies. That's good. I hope some of you write a book that sells 15 million copies, because even if you only got $1 per book, that's $15 million. And if you tithe, that's a game changer around here at our church. And so if you would tithe off of 15 million, I pray you'll get 15 million. But if you won't tithe off it, don't ask me to pray about it, because I ain't going to do it. I ain't praying for your God-stealing self to write no book. The next year we went, and I don't know if it was the next year. I might be getting my years all mixed up. Doesn't matter. But one time I was like, why everybody's reading this yellow book? It's yellow. I just remember it being yellow. And so then we went up and saw what it was. It was the girl with the dragon tattoo. And so I bought the book, read the book, and it was awesome. It was a good book. And it sold 30 million copies. That's good. I mean, I'm going to write books, and I would love for them to sell 30 million copies. That'd be amazing, you know? Then one time, even further back than that, I remember when everybody was reading that book called The Shack. Remember that? And The Shack, I think, was 22 million copies. That's pretty good. I mean, I'd take 22 million. I'd take 5 million. That'd be. Lord, I receive your reign. I would do that. You know, 5 million copies of a book. That'd be amazing. I'd write a book about tater tots if it was guaranteed to sell 5 million copies. If you could guarantee me that it would sell 5 million copies, I'd write a book about just about anything. But this 50 Shades of Grey series, I tell you all those to compare. The 50 Grades of Shay, 50 Grades of Shay. That's a different book. She's writing a new one. That's going to be the fourth one. There's a guy by the name of Shay, and his 50 Grades of Shay. It's going to be a bestseller. If she uses that, I want royalties, because I gave her the title. 50 Shades of Grey series. It was the third highest selling book in the 21st century. 125 million copies sold. That's a lot of books. It's a lot of people. This girl, Erica Mitchell, she goes by E.L. James, but Erica Mitchell was the one who wrote it, and she's doing pretty well. She's doing pretty good right about now. This particular book, I want to tell you, because my thing today, we're gonna answer this question. Some of you that don't know what we're doing today, I'll tell you on the front end. We're doing a message today called "What Would Jesus Say to Christian Grey?" And the reason we're doing it is because I don't know if you've noticed this, and I'm gonna call out the world I live in for just a second. People that are followers of Jesus, every time we encounter something collectively that we think we don't agree with, we just tell everybody to boycott it. We're like, I remember one time when I was a little kid, they told us that we were supposed to boycott Disney World. I mean, I don't remember all the details. I was a little kid. I don't remember all the details. I don't know if Mickey was a bad mouse. I mean, I don't know what all happened. I remember we were supposed to boycott Disney, and all the people said, we're going to boycott Disney. And so all that means is when they went to Disney, they refused to put all the pictures up. You know what I mean? Because they were still going to see that mouse. That mouse did not get hurt as a result of this little boycott. I don't know why Christians do it. People that are followers of Jesus, we think we're supposed to boycott stuff we don't agree with. And it's an interesting phenomenon. And when I was looking at this, I was just thinking to myself, you know, I don't think Jesus was in the boycotting business. I don't think Jesus ran from stuff that he disagreed with. I think Jesus actually stepped into the mess. I don't feel like he ran away from things. I don't think that as a follower of Jesus, we're supposed to be scared of stuff. I don't think we're supposed to run from stuff. I think we're supposed to sometimes step into what might be perceived as darkness so that you can be a light that brings hope to a situation. And so I started asking myself the question, not should you read the book or not read the book, or should you watch the movie or not watch the movie. You do your thing. I put a poll up on Facebook and Instagram, and it was hilarious. I eventually had to take it down because some of y'all were getting in arguments with each other. So I was like, everybody's being a 7. So I'm going to take it off of here. And 4,500 people saw the poll and chose not to vote. And so I was laughing because I was getting all these messages, not public ones, but the ones that are private messages. People were saying, I'm not going to answer your question because you're my pastor. And I feel weird answering that question to my pastor, which if you don't answer the question and you tell me you're not answering the question, then I know the answer. Congratulations. Like, I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I at least know that. And anyway, what would Jesus say to Christian Grey is what I want to do. Because I just don't think that Jesus would respond the way that a lot of Christians responded. I don't think that we would boycott Christian Grey, boycott Disney World, boycott 50 Shades, boycott, whatever the newest thing is, go boycott it. That'd be fun. I don't think necessarily that that's what Jesus does. Matter of fact, I think, like I said a minute ago, Jesus steps into things that a lot of followers of Jesus run from. And as a result, that being said, I want to give you a little bit of the backstory, because I think the backstory can help make it all make sense. Full disclosure, I've never read the book, I've never seen the movie, but I've read a book about the book, and I've watched a bunch of stuff about the book. And so I know way more about it than I should. And just also full disclosure, I'm not talking about all the stuff that's in the book, because it's hard for me to even talk about what's in the book. I'm not afraid of it, but some of you got like 6-year-olds with you because you didn't send them to Freedom Kids. And if I go into the book, your 6-year-old is going to have some hilarious questions to ask you later. So I'm going to try to do my best, but again, I may or may not go further than you would, but I'm the one with the mic, so it is what it is. This story, here's how it all plays out. There's a guy by the name of Christian Grey. Christian Grey's an interesting individual, and from the time he was born, he was born to a biological mom who was a drug-addicted prostitute. And her, I'll say it the nicest way possible, her handler, right? That's a nice way to say it. Aren't you proud of me? Her handler was abusive towards her and towards Christian from the time that he was born. Used to kick him, hit him, put out his cigarettes on him, even as a 4-year-old little kid. His mom couldn't take it anymore, so she ODs and dies. But when she ODs and dies, nobody else is in the room, or nobody else is in the place where she was at except for Christian, who's 4. And so he was with his dead mom alone for 4 days before anybody found him, before anybody helped him. That alone will be traumatizing. I mean, could you imagine? I would be traumatized if that happened to me now as a 38-year-old. Imagine what that would do to you if you were 4. And long story short, he gets brought into the hospital. Obviously, they got to check him out. And the doctor was Mrs. Dr. Grey, or Dr. Mrs. Grey, or Mrs. Dr. Grey, or however it is you want to say that. And she has compassion on this kid and wants to adopt him, so she and her husband adopt him into the family. But he's got nightmare. I mean, this kid's pretty messed up as a result of the situation, getting abused his whole life, being with his dead mom for 4 days. He didn't have fond things to say about his mom. Called her a crack. You fill in the next word that usually follows there. That's what he called her his whole life. That's how he referred to his biological mother. And that being said, what was interesting is throughout his life, he had nightmares. He was constantly tormented mentally for what he had to deal with. And then as a 15-year-old, he goes and works as a landscaper for his mom's good friend. But as a 15-year-old kid, his mom's good friend's like, that 15-year-old is hot, which you can see that's problematic, right? That should be problematic to you if you're an adult and married and you start finding a 15-year-old, She acts upon what it is that she sees and begins a 6-year sexual relationship with a 15-year-old. And throughout that time, she also, because she was the one who introduced him to the lifestyle that he introduced you to in the book, she's the one that introduced that lifestyle to him. And she also enjoyed hooking him up with other women, 15 to be exact. From the time he was 15 to the time he was 21. She gives him $100,000 of her husband's money. Her husband ultimately finds out about what's going on, beats her to within an inch of her life, and he finds this girl by the name of Anastasia, or Anna Steele. And as a 27-year-old man falls for, hits it off with this 21-year-old girl. And that's where the book kind of picks up. Now, a lot of well-intentioned people, I told you this, have kind of had the perception that anytime you disagree with something or anytime you think something may or may not be over the line, that we're supposed to run from it. Again, I don't think that's the case. So I want to dive in and I want to talk about this. And you're probably wondering, like, why does this matter? It's going to matter more than you think it does by the time we get to the end. So if you'll give me from now until the end, you will find out that this message is far more practical, whether you've seen the movie, not seen the movie, read the book, not even heard of the book, whether you even care. This will be practical to you by the time we get to the end of this thing. It's going to be really helpful. But what would Jesus say? Not what would a Christian say, by the way, because sometimes it's different. And you do know that if it's different, one of you is wrong. Now, what would Jesus say to Christian Gray? Y'all want to have some fun? It feels tense. It doesn't need to feel tense. I'm not going to tell you, like, if you read the book, you're the spawn of Satan and you're a terror. No, that's not. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I don't care about that. That's not where we're going. Okay, so don't be tense. Take a breath. Ready? No, seriously, do that. It's good. What would Jesus say to Christian Gray? Number one, it hurts me that someone hurt you. That's the first thing he would say. It hurts me that someone hurts you. Did you know the reason that that's good news is because everybody here at both locations knows what it's like to be hurt? Did you know that Jesus feels your pain? Now, I'm not talking about he's aware of your pain. He feels your pain. He knows what you've been through. Some of you came out of a lifestyle where you're like, man, that description of his life from 0 to 4, I resonate with that. There's many of you in this room that maybe nobody even knows, but you can resonate with that because that's your story. Jesus feels your pain. Some of you, it's not from when you were 0 to 4. Some of you, it's a situation you're in right now. You know what's even more awkward in a room this size with this many people here today? Some of you are sitting next to the person that did it. And right now, it's about as awkward for you as it can get. And I know I can't even say release the tension because there's no way for me to release the tension until we keep going. Just know this, you don't have to stay in that situation. Because if you're in an abusive situation, I don't care what he says to you. We got some people that can take care of it. A lot of our security people on our team, they either just got out of prison or they've only been a follower of Jesus for like a real short time. So even though you're laughing, I swear to you, if you need help, come find us before this message is over and we'll help you. That's not, I'm not even trying to be funny. That's for real. But some of you resonate because that's the scenario that you find yourself in right now. And the only reason you laughed is because you're trying to cover up the pain. The good news for you, though, is that Jesus hurts for you. He feels your pain. It says in Isaiah chapter 61, verse 1, this is what Jesus would try to tell Christian about us. He has sent me to comfort the brokenhearted and to proclaim that captives will be released and prisoners will be freed. That means if you feel like you're in a prison, because that's how Christian felt if you read the story. If you feel like you're in a prison, you don't have to stay there any longer. If you feel like there is no hope, that's not a place where you have to stay. If you've been tormented by your past and you've been held captive by the past, either that you have brought on yourself or that has been brought on you, Jesus came to set you free from all that. That's what he would want Christian to know. Is what he would want Christian to know, that it hurts me that somebody hurts you. And you might have heard some well-meaning person say, yeah, but all things work together for good. All things do work together for good, but that does not mean that all things are good. There's some bad stuff in this life. There's some bad scenarios in this life. And just because God is sovereign doesn't mean that God caused it. God is not out to get you. Every time something bad happens to you, it's not your fault, regardless of what it is that people have told you. It hurts him that somebody hurt him. I mean, check this out. It says, Jesus says, John chapter 16, verse 33, I have told you all this so that you may have peace here on earth, right? Because, that's where we live, most of you. Here on earth, you will have many trials and sorrows. It says you will. Say will. You will. Not you might, not you could if you're a bad Christian. No, it says you will have many sorrows. You will have many trials. Watch this. But take heart, because I've overcome the world. Now, here's what that means. Here's what it means, because some of you are like, I'm calling BS. Some of you feel like that because in your world, you don't feel like God has overcome anything for you. He says, in this world, you're going to have some troubles, but take heart, I've overcome the world. In other words, I can make the thing that haunts your dreams, I can use it for good in your life if you give me some time. I didn't cause it. I didn't bring it on you. I hurt with you and I hurt for you, and I'm going to fix this. But you've got to understand, a lot of times it doesn't happen in the timing that we wish it would. Because it takes a long time for us, because this is what he would say to Christian. He'd say, but if you want to be in a position where you can see me overcome the world, you got in the hands of the one who can overcome the world. See, when Satan tries to shut you up, God will fix your mic. Because he knew that if he didn't fix it, I was about to throw it. He don't want somebody to die up in this house today. Aren't you glad we can have fun at church? I'm glad we can have fun at church. Although it would have been fun to throw the mic. Somebody would have just brought me a new one through the curtain. Magic happens, baby. When you don't boycott Disney, magic will happen. I'm glad it didn't have to. And don't do that again. Mess up my flow. I don't even remember what I was talking about. If you want to experience an overcoming life, you got to put your life in the hands of the overcomer. And here's what the second thing he would say would be, because it flows with that. Stop looking for people to provide what only I can. That's what Jesus would say to Christian Gray. Stop looking to people to provide what only I can. Because see, this is a guy who wanted power and control. And it's understandable when you know his backstory. When you know his backstory, the thing that he never had was power, and the thing that he never had was control. Everybody else had power, and everybody else had control. For 4 years of his life, it was his mom's handler. For the next 11, or for 6 years after the next 11, what happened is there was a woman who abused her position of authority in his life, and she leveraged what she brought to the table for him, and he is now confused. As a result of what it is that was going on in his life, he was craving power and control, and the thing that can bring that in many instances, at least theoretically, is money. And that's what he got. He busted his butt and he made a whole lot of money. And you know what he found out when he made it? Is that wasn't enough. He found out the same thing everybody else finds out when you get some money. Money's not enough. He found out when he got some power, he found out power wasn't enough. He found out when he got control, control wasn't enough. He found out when he had 15 women and then now one that he actually enjoys, he found out that even that wasn't enough. He found out the same thing some of you found out. Isn't that what's messed up many of our relationships anyway? Is the fact that we put on people something that they were never meant to carry? That's why your relationship sometimes doesn't work. It's because you have expectations on your spouse that they are incapable of fulfilling. That's why I've said it every week in this series. I might as well say it one more time, that no person on this earth can complete you. Doesn't matter how good it sounds. Doesn't matter how many likes you get on Facebook. Doesn't matter how many people share it. Doesn't matter how cute it is. Doesn't matter how many times you've heard that phrase as a result of the movie. The reality is nobody on this earth can complete you. Nobody. I don't care if you just got engaged and you're looking over at her and you said, except for you, honey. No. You'll find out soon enough. Marriage won't complete you. Nobody will complete you on this earth. They will compete with you. They will not complete you. Sometimes stuff that sounds romantic is just stupid. People end relationships because you think the problem was them, when in reality, the problem was you. Stop looking to people to provide what only it is that God can provide. Watch this. Matthew chapter 16, verse 24. Jesus went to work on his disciples. Anyone who intends to come with me has to let me lead. You are not in the driver's seat. I am. Those of you that were here a couple weeks ago, you remember this because I said a lot of us, we've asked Jesus to get in our boat, but Jesus don't get in your boat. You got to get in his boat. He don't ever let you drive. He's stingy like that. He is not going to let you take the wheel. That's why whenever, the song, Jesus, take the wheel. He's like, I had it the whole time. It's not the way that it works. Jesus don't take no wheel. He already had the wheel. You can do it's ridiculous. I ain't going there. Sorry, Carrie, you are awesome. You are not in the driver's seat. He is not your co-pilot. Don't run from, are you ready for some hard verses? Don't run from suffering. Embrace it. Follow me, because the next question is always, how the crap do I do that? Follow me and I will show you how. Self-help is no help at all. Christian, self-help is no help at all. Get all the money you want, it's not going to work. Get all the power you want, it's not going to work. Get all the success you want, it's not going to work. Get all the control you want, it's not going to work. Get all the women you want, it's not going to work. Get all the whatever it is you think you need, you want. Whatever it is you think you need, whatever it is you think you want, you get it. It's not going to work. He says, self-sacrifice is the way, my way, to finding yourself, your true self. He keeps going. He says, what kind of deal is it to get everything you want but lose yourself? What could you ever trade your soul for? Some translations of that verse say, what does it profit a man or a woman to gain the whole world and then to forfeit their soul? See, that's exactly the scenario that he found himself in. He gained the world. Everything that it seems like you would want. I mean, I told y'all this last week. Money's not the root of all evil. I hope some of y'all get you some. I hope I get me some. Money's not the root of all evil. It's the love of money that's the root of all evil. But if you are looking to money to provide happiness and fulfillment, you are grasping for the wind. Power, success, empty-handed, baby. It is not going to bring you what you think it is. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and then to realize when you get to the end, your ladder was leaning up against the wrong building? That's what he says to Christian. So he says to Christian Gray, he says, the bad news for you, my friend, is that you're headed in the wrong direction. You're going about it the wrong way. The good news for you is that I have what you're looking for. See, the good news for Christian is that Jesus says to him, hey, big boy, I love you right where you are, but I love you too much to leave you where you are. See, if Jesus had the same mentality as a lot of people that call themselves followers of Jesus Christ, they would have thought, and Jesus would have boycotted Christian Gray instead of stepping into Christian Gray's life. Jesus didn't boycott Christian. And can I tell you why that's good news? The reason that's good news is because you are Christian Gray. I am Christian Gray. We are all Christian Gray. We all, every single one of us, know what it's like to go too far when God says stop. Every one of us know what it's like to go too fast when God says slow down. Every single one of us has a dark side. Look to the person next to you and say, you got a dark side. You got a dark side. That's a weird thing to say to somebody you don't even know. Everybody here's got a dark side. And the reason I wanted to bring that up, and the reason I said that Jesus would say to him, he would say to him, I love you right where you are, but I love you too much to leave you where you are, is because the third thing that I think Jesus would say to Christian Gray, and that is, I came to you so that you could come to me. In other words, Christian, you're not going to find what you're looking for if you keep going the way that you've been going. It's not going to provide you what you think it's going to provide you. It's not going to do what you want it to do. It's not going to end up the way you think it's going to end up. All the money, all the success, all the fame, all the fortune, all the power, all the control that you think you have, it is not what you think. Isn't that funny how controlling we are sometimes, and then you finally realize you're not in control at all, regardless of how controlling it is that you want to be? Because we want to be controlling, because we want to control our scenario, but your perceived control can end with one phone call. Your perceived control can end with one layoff. Your perceived control can end with one divorce court. It can end with one car accident. It can end with one bad report at the doctor. You aren't in control. I'm not in control. Christian Gray, you're not in control. But the good news for you is I came to you so that you could come to me. I need to show you this in the Bible, and I read this either last week or the week before, so I put it in a different translation so that it would be fresh for you. Check this out. John chapter 3, verse 17 and 18. For God did not send his son into the world to condemn the world. That's good, because this is what it means. God did not send Jesus into the world to point the finger. He sent Jesus into the world to clear the path. He's not here to boycott you. He's not here to boycott 50 Shades of Grey. Jesus didn't come into the world so that you would read a book, one book and not another. Jesus didn't come just to point out all the bad stuff that's going on in and around your life. He came to this world to save the world. In other words, he came to this world to save you, Christian. He came to this world to save you, Freedom Church. He came to this world to save you, Ackworth, Georgia. He came to this world to save you, Kennesaw, Georgia. He came to this world not to condemn you, but to save you. He says, whoever believes in him is not condemned. Can I share with you what that means? I'm going to, so say yes. Yes. There's a lot of people in this room, you say you believe in God. What if I told you that that's not really what it means? It doesn't mean that if you believe in God, then you're not condemned, that you're let off the hook. Because there's a lot of people that believe in God. The demons of hell believe in God. It's not so much is there a belief in God, it's more of, do you believe God? Do you believe that God is the one who provided the way? Do you believe that God is the only one who can forgive your sin through the person of Jesus Christ? Do you believe that he is the way, the truth, and the life, and that no man gets to God except through Jesus? Not do you believe in a God, but do you believe God? Because if you do, you're not condemned. That means if you do, you're already forgiven. If you do, you're on your way to heaven when you die. If you do, God's made you new. But if you don't, whoever does not believe stands condemned already, because they have not believed in the name of God's one and only Son. People will say, well, I just don't know if I can believe in a God who condemns people and sends them to hell. It's not how it works. When you were born, you were already under condemnation. You were already on your way to a place called hell. Jesus came to this earth so that you didn't have to go there. Jesus didn't come to this earth to condemn you somewhere. Jesus came to this earth to make it so that you could experience a brand new life. He came to this earth so that you could be redeemed, so that you could be adopted into his family, so that you could be forgiven, so that all things could become new. He came into this world so that you could experience joy, so that you could have peace. And not just peace that passes whenever situations go awry, but peace that passes all understanding. Because peace is not a thing. Peace is a person. And he wants to give you himself. And he's saying, Christian, I came to this earth so that you could say yes to me. And if you will say yes to me, I will give you what you've been looking for in all the wrong places. That's what he's saying to you. Because I said it once before, I'll say it again. We are Christian Gray. Everybody here. Nobody's exempt. And I'm just telling you right now, from my standpoint, I'm glad Jesus didn't boycott me. I'm glad Jesus didn't boycott the mistakes I made. I'm grateful Jesus didn't boycott the path I took. I'm grateful Jesus didn't boycott me whenever I turned and ran the other direction. Because if I was Jesus, I would be the worst Jesus ever. I'd be like, I came to this earth and died on a cross for people who were going to turn their back on me and run the other way. I'm picketing those jokers. I'm sending them to where they belong, and I ain't going to do nothing. I'm going to start over. Because if I pay a sacrifice and I pay a penalty that you should have paid and you don't receive it, I don't think I'm going to be very fond of you, to be honest. But Jesus said, I'm going to pay what you should have paid. And if you'll say yes, that penalty that I paid for will be credited to your account. And it's possible for you to have walked into one of our rooms today on your way to hell and walk out of this room today on your way to heaven. Say, are you one of those hell, fire, and brimstone preachers? No. But I do believe in hell. And I do believe it's not going to be awesome. And I do believe that Jesus made a way so that you don't have to go there. And when you die, you will go to one of two places. And you don't go based on how good you were. You go based on how good God was through the person of Jesus. And he can step into your life right now. There's people in this room we've been praying for years. And all you got to do is say yes. Because you know what's different about God than Christian Gray? He won't force himself on you. He just gives you the opportunity to say yes to him. And that opportunity is now yours. I'll extend it to you at either one of our locations right now. If you want to say yes to Jesus, the one who paid the penalty of your sin, the one who came to this earth so that you could go to him, the one who came to you, who lived for you, who died for you, who was risen from the dead so that you could be made alive, so you could be forgiven, so joy could be yours. Not so that your life could be perfect on this earth, because that ain't going to happen, but so that you could be adopted into God's family. And you could recognize that you have somebody that sticks closer than a brother, somebody who will never leave you, never forsake you, never turn his back on you. If that's what you want, you can have it right now. Bow your head and close your eyes. All over this room at both of our locations, if you just want to say yes to Jesus, that's it. You just want to say yes to Jesus. Lord, I want to say yes to you. If that's you, just pray in your heart as I pray out loud. I'll give you the framework, but there's no magical words to this prayer. Just you doing business with God. Say, Lord, the best way I know how, I say yes to you. I need your forgiveness and hope and joy and peace. I need you to do in my life what I've never been able to do on my own. Thank you for making a way for me. You are the way maker. And today I'm responding to that reality. Change me from the inside out. I turn from my sin and I turn to Jesus. I want you to be the Lord and Savior of my life.